Got a 2004 F-150 axle seals. So if you want to do brakes at this time on it, that'd be great. Okay, because we're taking the brakes apart to get to the axle seals. So first thing you want to do is break your wheel lug nuts loose, jack it up and support it, and get inside the vehicle, put it in neutral, okay? Because you need it in neutral so you can turn the drive shaft so you can get to the pinion shaft inside there to get the bolt loose out for the side gears. Okay, so get the tires off, raise it up. We'll have to take the brakes apart. You take the calipers off. They're held on by 210 millimeters for the bolts, for the slides. You take those out, and then you can take the caliper off. This caliper's got a double notch here, so you pry it off from the top, come off this way, and then we can get the rotor off. I'm out of breath because the tires were stuck on there swinging a sledgehammer. So anyway, we'll do that. There's your caliper slide bolts, 10 millimeter head, 2 of them per side. Okay, remember I told you about the double piece on it? You can't pry them off on that side. What you need to do is pry it off from up here. It'll come off. Okay, this is your caliper. Pads are good. If you're gonna put new pads in it, now's the time to push the piston in, and then pry this pad out, and then pry this pad out. Put your new pads in there. Make sure the slides are free. Okay. Now all you need to do is get the rotor off, and Ford have a nice ridge that builds up on the rotor, so you might have to, because of the parking brake shoes. So I have to get me a hammer, my sledge, mini sledge, and help me work it off. Also with a screwdriver. Screwdriver going in this side, hitting it right here with the hammer a little bit, trying not to damage the rotor. Okay, my rotor's off. Axle seal's leaking. Next, I'm gonna take off the other side because it's not leaking, but I like doing things in a pair. Okay, I got this one off also. This one's not leaking, but it'll probably be if I don't replace it. So, this one was a little tougher. I had to tap on, had my screwdriver on this side, and I had to tap on this side of the rotor with the hammer to get it past the rust ridge. And once I get past that rust ridge on the inside that drum of the rotor, then it comes off. You want to be on the safe side so the rotor don't fall off and hit you. Just one or two threads of a lug nut to hold the rotor on so it doesn't fall off when you're trying to get it off. Okay, now we're gonna raise it up, go underneath and take the rear end cover off. So you need a drain pan for that. Got all my bolts out, left my top one in a little bit loose. It's held in with silicone. So all you need to do is find a nice flat spot. You can pound your screwdriver in there to separate it and start the fluid to drain. Okay, got the screwdriver tapped in there a little bit, starting to drip. And then I'll just pry it. And there it comes. Pinion over a little bit. Gear lube just stinks something fierce. You know? There we go. Now I can take the cover off and let it drain. Okay, next we need to do is remove the bolt retainer for the pinion shaft. So it's kind of not in a good spot, so I need to turn it. So I got it in neutral. So I should be able to turn the drive shaft. I'm gonna turn the drive shaft, let's see. Make sure I'm going the right way. I'm turning the drive shaft. Okay. Now that wrench is an 8mm or a 5/16, so you need to smack it with a hammer to break it loose. And hopefully that bolt doesn't break off. That wasn't broke off inside there, so hopefully get the whole bolt out. I'll show you in a minute. So break it loose, unthread it out. Has Loctite on it. Okay, remember I said this is an 8 or 5/16. You should use a 6-point wrench to break it loose. If you don't have a 6-point wrench, but you got a socket, you can take this cap off, but don't flip it when you got it off. Make sure you know what's the top, okay? Because you need to put it back on there because they're machined perfectly to fit. So you can take this off, get it out of the way so you can get a socket in there, okay? All right, so you got the bolt loose, pull it out. You know how long it is? Usually it'll break off right here and leave this section inside here. And if that's the case, then you gotta reach in there with a pick and pick it with a long skinny magnet. Nice long skinny screw, thin magnet, slender. It can go inside there and pull it out. Pick it, get it to turn. Sometimes they'll leave a thread left on it. Or you might have to take this cap off, get a small drill bit, and put a drill bit in it and put an extractor on it. When you put an extractor on it, it'll unthread right out. Okay, so that's good. So now you need to push this pin out. Okay, pin's out. See it? All right, pin is out. And then you need to do is push your axle in. It's got a C-clip holding the axle in. And on the end of the axle, it's got like a button, and the C-clip goes in the button. So now, get the axle. I had to hit it with a hammer to get it to go. All right. Sometimes the C-clip just drops off. Sometimes you gotta push them off. Should be going. Now, let me get a screwdriver in there and push it down. Okay, push the axle in, push the clip down, and then get up in there with a pick, angle pick, and grab inside the C-clip and pull it out, and it'll fall inside here. Okay? And that's what it looks like. Okay? One other thing is I want to show you is this hole. You can see right through it, right? But if you turn this a little bit, I can't turn it, but let's watch. I can't turn it. I can stick it in there very far. Okay. See that? You don't see through it anymore because that's one of the spider gears. So you don't want to turn this with this shaft out because that's what holds them in place. All right, so you gotta be careful. Even when you turn the axle, you gotta turn the axle. See how it moves? So if you turn the axle too far, that spider gear will come all the way up to the opening inside the case here, or in the bottom down here, and fall out. And then you'll have a heck of a time putting it back together. So try not to do that. All right. Okay, so now we got this C-clip out. Put your finger in there, you can look in there and you can see the axle sticking through inside there. So now all you need to do is pull the axle out. Okay, give it a quick jerk, and there it comes. Okay, you got the axle out. Now all you need to do is look at the surface. Okay, this is the seal surface. You want to look at that? Okay, and right here is the bearing surface. And you want to look at those. If you see any pits in it, or any kind of grinding on it, the axle's no good and the bearing's no good. Okay? So you need to replace the axle and the bearing. If you see any grind marks on there. So it looks good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a rag, pull the shaft out and wipe it off as we're pulling it out, set it aside. And do that to the other side also. Same thing with the C-clip. Okay? Okay, we'll go over this one more time. Hit the axle in, as far as you can get it. Okay? Reach up inside here, see if you find the end of the shaft, and you have the C-clip. If the C-clip's in there, you can push it down like that. If it's in there like this, then you need to stick your finger up through there and turn it. So it's down like that. And then when it's down like this, push it. Push it down with your fingers. And then get your pick up in there and pull this down, okay? Once you got it out, then you can pull your axle straight out. Try not to turn your shaft, because if you turn your shaft, remember, side gear gets misaligned. You don't want to do that. You want to keep them perfect like that, okay? So now we'll pull this axle out and we'll check it. Okay, see what I'm talking about? Goes in there like that. And inside here, there's an O-ring that helps keep it from falling out. Okay, so that might keeps it from falling out when you turn it upside down inside there. So that's what it looks like. A little button, okay? All right. Now we need to do is pop our axle seals out. Get a nice pry bar, get inside there and pop it out. Put a rag over it. You got the pry bar in there. Put a rag over it. So when you pry it, all that crud doesn't come flying at you in the face. Okay? Okay, I'll stick a pry bar in there like that. I got a smaller one, but it wouldn't do the trick. So I stick the pry bar in there like that. Get your rag. Stick it over the top. Okay, stick it over top like that. So now you push on the pry bar real hard and pop that seal out. Okay.